Okay, cool. We are started. As you know, when we're discussing assignments, you guys do the talking, and I do the listening. So I really wasn't aware that your questions are different. I thought LFL 100 and 101 is the same thing. It only came to my attention yesterday. I do apologize for that. It wasn't intentional. So yesterday we did discuss that question 1. So I would assume that most of you guys were here yesterday, unless if some of you were not here yesterday. Will that be correct to say that everyone is good and ready to go with regards to question 1? You can unmute, because today the floor is all yours. I would assume that everyone is happy with question 1, because we did cover it in detail yesterday. We can now move on because okay, can I ask this? Am I audible, guys? Can you all hear me? Hello? Okay, I'm worried. I don't know. You can type in the chat box, say yes, we can hear you. Or together to say yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Can hear you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that, because it was so silent and I wouldn't want to be talking and no one is hearing me. So I would assume that with regards to question 1, we are all happy. But let me remind you again, the rules is that when we are doing this, you guys, you do the talking, and then thank you for that. You will do the talking, because I assume that you have done these questions, and here we're just seeking clarity. So if I don't get any responses, I will move on, hoping that you guys have done it. So we are moving on to question 2, because I assume that most of you were here yesterday, and we are happy with question 1. Sorry about that. My niece just sent me a message. Okay, Section 28 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, also known as the Children's Rights Clause, aims to protect children and not parents. Discourse on the rights that children have according to this session. I would assume, sorry about that. I would assume that you guys have a copy of the, not a copy. I would assume that you guys have the Constitution, as I indicated previously, that I feel it is important that everyone has the Constitution, because in this profession, you need to have the Constitution almost everywhere you go. It becomes your Bible. So does anybody wants to tell us, open that question again, the rights that the children have according to Section 28. Anybody wants to take the floor? Nobody wants to take the floor. Okay, I'm gonna choose. I will start from the top. There is a person with a lot of characters as their name. Do you want to give it a try? Maybe you can also tell us your name as well while you're at it. Okay. I don't know who that. Okay. It seems that they cannot talk where they are. And Tabiseng, do you want to give it a try?
I would, but
Okay, can I?
the problem is I don't understand the
Sorry.
term
Oh,
discourse. Hello.
Hello, hello. I can hear you, but there was multiple people talking. So I don't know who wants to go first. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I was saying I can try, but I do not understand this term discourse, so I don't know how to go on about it
The term
because it discourse is not discuss, it's discourse.
it's more or
So,
less the same. It's
term-
like have a conversation, your thought on that particular subject, or is the same thing as discuss.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like your ideas, what you think. Yeah, it's like have a conversation on that particular subject. That's if my English serves me right.
Mhm.
I stand to be corrected. It's like
Okay.
debate. That's what the dictionary says here. Debate, discuss, write authoritatively about a topic, speak. It's the same thing. I think it's just a smarter way of them confusing us with English or playing around with English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'll give someone a chance on this one.
Okay. All right. Somebody else was trying to speak.
Can I
Yes.
can I give
Yes.
can I give out one, please?
Yes.
Okay. Children have the right not to be overworked, or because according to the labor law, I think kids are not allowed. You're not allowed to employ a child who's below 15 years of age.
Okay.
Try to put it in my own words.
Yeah. That is correct. So in that particular case, you will be referring to section 28, subsection D, the one that says children has a right to be protected from subsection E, sorry, to be protected from exploitative labor practices. So that is section 28, subsection E. I beg of you guys to get the Constitution. It's free. You can get it at the court. They give them out for free. If you live in Cape Town, you can get it in Parliament, but they are available in each and every courthouse for free. Or you can still download the copy of the Constitution. Does anyone want to add to that? Anyone wants to add?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Hi, Sandy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm right now. If I say like section 28 provides like that every child has a right to a name and a nationality from birth.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, thing is, I wasn't sure, but I wanted like just to mention this one so that I can be able to see if like is it the right one or not.
Yeah, no, that is correct. It's a lot of them. I can just name them, but I think it is best that you guys get a copy. You get yourself a copy of the Constitution, because it is very important that you guys have this. You can still even download it online. So it's a right to a name and nationality from birth, to family care or parental care, or to appropriate alternative care when removed from the family environment, to basic nutrition, shelter, basic healthcare and services, and social services, to be protected from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, or degradation, to be protected from exploitative labor practices, and not to be required or permitted to perform work or to provide services that are inappropriate for a person of that child's age, place at risk the child's well-being, education, physical or mental health, spiritual, moral, or social development. It's a lot of them until it's a lot. So I think you guys can download the Constitution, or you can just go on Google and say Section 28 of the Constitution is the Children's Clause, and then you will see all the rights that the children have. So it is entirely up to you how you would want to discuss it, because you will have these rights in front of you. But it is very important that you download. You can download it tonight if you haven't already done so. Download yourself a copy of the Constitution online. Make sure it's the correct one, not paraphrased, because you can still put it in your own words, but make sure that you do not paraphrase the Constitution and put it in your own words. That will change the meanings of other things, because there is interpretation clause, which is Section 39, which tells us how to interpret. You don't want to change the Constitution and put it in your own words, then everything else is going to be wrong. So
Can I ask a question? Hello,
hi,
can I ask a question, please?
yes.
When they say we discuss them, do we need to state the right and then elaborate further? Because on the textbook, there's a part where they stated the right and then elaborated further.
Yes, so elaboration is the interpretation as to how that right is, how you would interpret it to somebody else. So when the question says discourse, so then you probably have to explain, to say, okay, to a name and nationality from birth, then you can elaborate more. You don't really need to go crazy about it, but just to explain in layman's terms as how you would explain to somebody who doesn't understand what it means to say every child has the right to be protected from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, or degradation.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are we happy? Are we happy with that question?
Yes, we are.
Oh, thank you. Can we move now? Somebody else saying something?
No, I was saying, let's carry on.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Sanel. Okay, let's move on to question 3. Your friend wants to get engaged and asked you about the requirements of a valid engagement. Advise him accordingly. So we discussed this in detail with regards to engagement. I had a thorough session with you guys on engagement. I am not going to be doing any talking on that one, because I remember I thoroughly went on that subject a lot, and there is a video that explains that in detail to the dot. So I would like to hear from you. You guys can take the floor. Let's do it this way now. Anybody wants to say something, you can put up your hand so that we don't have people cashing or speaking at the same time. So if you want to take the floor, you can put up your hand and we'll acknowledge you. And then on this one, if no one wants to put up their hand or they don't want to take the floor, I will be doing the picking. Anyone want to give it a try? Oh, there we go. Who was it? Is it? I saw a hand come in. Oh, okay. It's the person with many characters. Okay, please take the floor.
Hi, it's Andy. So
Hi, Andy.
can you hear me?
Yes, Andy, so I can hear you. Thank you for rectifying that. I'm going to be calling you Andy Swap from now on because your name doesn't show there. I can only see many characters.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I also don't know why it shows like this. Then on question 3, I've got the engagement is predicted on consensus, hence consensus related conversation apply. For instance, in the case of the deceived party, a major deception makes the engagement voidable. Offer and acceptance are the means through which the engagement is consummated. The parties are not need to be present for each other. Consequently, unlike a marriage, an engagement can be made by a representative as long as both partners agreed to it. Both partners to the engagement must be able to act as a result. Someone who lacks the capacity to act owing mental illness, for example, cannot get involved for as long as his or her capacity exists to become engaged. I don't know how to pronounce this one. A Geneva must first acquire permission from his or her parents or guardian. The engagement will be immediately cancelled if a minor or parents withdraw the authorization. Can I continue?
Yes, you may continue.
After the engagement, but before their authorization, after the engagement, but before the marriage, nobody may complete an engagement on behalf of a minor without the minor's agreement, giving the very personal nature of the engagement. The partners must be able to enter into a civil marriage with each other at the time of the engagement. As a result, they must be single. They must not be linked with any, they must not be linked with any engagement. As a result, they must be single. They must not be linked with in the forbidden degree of kinship, neither, or they must be under the age of puberty. They must be a opposite sex, and so on. A promise made by a married person to marry a third party after obtaining a divorce after the death of his or her spouse. Yes, I'm done with this one.
Okay, no, that it sounds correct. Most of the things you've said sounds correct, but remember the definition now that we have the Civil Union Act that allows same-sex couples to be married. I would amend the part that says they must be or might be of the opposite sex, because that definition now is has been extended. So that's the only part that I would amend from the answer that you've given. None other than that, I think everything else is on point. Thank you for that, Andy. Okay. Does anybody else wants to add to what Andy said, or are we happy with Andy's answer that was given? I would assume that the silence means that we are all happy. For that regard, then we can, yes, thank you, Tanya. And then on that note, then we can move on to question 4. Question 4 reads, in South Africa, our community is challenged by acts of domestic violence, especially women and children are victims. Read the subnet article by CBC Siabonga on understanding certain provisions of the Domestic Violence Act, practitioner's perspective, practice note, discourse on the lessons that you have learned regarding the Domestic Violence Act from reading this article. The article can be found at Subnet Law Archive on the Diribas, volume 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not think that we're going to be discussing that article because I do not have the article. I did not read the article. I did read that article many years ago when I was writing, when I wrote an essay on that particular subject. But Ntabiseng says, I haven't read the Sabinet yet, so I won't know how to answer this one. Definitely, Ntabiseng. I also, because I didn't have these questions, so I would have downloaded it, but I would ask that those who have downloaded the article, they can share it on the group, and then you can take that time and you can all read the article in your own time and then answer accordingly. And this is an opinion, because they say here, understanding, okay, discourse on the lessons that you have learned. So this is an opinion. Definitely, you're probably going to have to score if you replied according to the points that you have given. They count up to 10 marks, because this is an opinion. You discuss on the lessons that you have learned on that particular article. So it's kind of personal, because it's your lessons. I can learn something different and you can learn something different. So you choose how you want to answer that particular question. I hope everyone is happy with that, because I don't have the article with me. So on that regard, I will suggest that anyone who has the article, please share it with everyone else. But I do know that you guys do all have access to Sabinet, where you can go and download that article. So on that regard, we'll move on to question 5. So question 5 says, in an essay, discuss the status change of parties when they enter into a civil marriage. So that particular question, again, we will not be discussing it, because we did discuss it yesterday. Unless if any one of you was not available yesterday, then you may say so, and then we can probably refer you to the textbook, but I don't think we'll have to go into detail with that, because I think most of you were here yesterday. Yeah, so if you're not here, please make yourself known, then we can see how we can best assist you.
Can you please repeat the question for me? I missed it yesterday.
You missed it yesterday. So it's this.
Yes, but I was here yesterday. Just that I didn't.
Oh, okay. So it is the status. Let me just go back to the question. I see that Sanele posted he posted the PDF. I just need to navigate to the assignment, which is going to make it easier for me. I can't see the assignment question. Guys, just give me a minute. Let me just navigate to the questions from the PDF that was sent to me. Okay, perfect. I found it. It says, in an essay, discuss the status change of parties when they enter into a civil marriage. So in brief, I'll just run through that in brief. So yesterday we got our answer from Tanya, if I am not mistaken. She said that when people, the status change, it's going to be possibly the capacity to act, because once you get married, in order for you to get into any contract, you need the consent from the other party, which would be your spouse. And then for women, there's a possible change of a family name, where you will have to take the last name of your husband. It's not an obligation, because this is a matter between two people. It can be discussed. And then she also mentioned that a marriage itself creates a right of interstate succession. And then when I explained on that note, I said the right of interstate succession is that when a couple gets married and then one of the parties dies without a will, then their property will be devolved, their estate will be devolved according to the Interstate Succession Act. And then she further explained that when minors, if one of the parties entering into a marriage is a minor, they automatically attain majority, which means that that minor will now be treated as an adult by the law. So they will no longer need consent to do certain things. So let's say, for example, they got married and then 2 years down the line, they get divorced, and at that time they were still a minor, and then they try to get married again before they attain the age of 18, the law would have seen them as a majority, so they will no longer need consent. And then I'm not sure if she covered this, but the spouse, yes, she did cover that. Once you get married, you are no longer, you are now seen as a married person. You cannot be able to enter into another marriage, otherwise you'll be committing fraud. So I hope that is clear for you. Mavi? Does that?
Yes, sorry. So this is under the civil marriages, right?
Yes. It's more or less the same with civil marriages and the Civil Act. The civil union, sorry. But this question is I'm not sure if it's, I think it's, yeah, it's civil marriage. Okay, so I hope everyone is happy on that note. We've got 9 minutes before we go for a break, but question 5, we are happy, and then now we are moving to question 6. Question 6 reads, Samantha and Nika are engaged and have set the wedding date to December 2022. They are now in the process of deciding how they want to get married and are leaning towards getting married in community of property. List the main advantages and disadvantages of the system. This question is very easy, ladies and gentlemen. I do not think, let's go to the messages. Ntabisen said they're happy. Okay, thank you, Ntabisen. And then, so this question is easy to answer. It says list the main advantages and disadvantages of this system. And that system that they're referring to, it is the marriage in community of property. So this one might sound like general knowledge because we are obviously exposed to it each and every day of our lives. Does anybody wants to list the advantages, and then we can have somebody else list the disadvantages for us? You can just name 2 or 3, and then the other person will name 2 or 3 of the disadvantages just before we go for a short break. Who wants to take the floor? I see there is a hand, and that is Andy Swa. Yes, Andy Swa, you can unmute and take the floor.
All right, you said you must start with the advantages or disadvantages. I didn't hear.
You can take the advantages, and then the disadvantages will be taken by somebody else.
Okay, it takes effect automatically with the need for antenuptial agreement. Thus, it doesn't involve any work or cost on the side of the prospective spouses. Then another one is automatically each spouse receives a portion of the assets amassed throughout the course of marriage. Can I continue, or is this fine, or I can take all of them?
No, I think that is fine, Anderson. Thank you, and that is correct. I do believe you have already laid a foundation, and if anyone does not understand, we can refer them to the textbook so that they can see the rest of the advantages. Can we give the disadvantages to somebody else? And Tabise wants to know on which page. If anyone knows on which page, I do not have the textbook in front of me, So if anyone knows on which page, please you can post it on the chat or you can put it on the WhatsApp. Does anyone wants to take the disadvantages? You can just go ahead, put up your hand, and then you can mute away. Yes, Tanya, you can take the floor.
Hi, T. Hi, everybody. Okay, so on disadvantages, I've got obviously in my own terms, not textbook. So I've got joint liabilities. So part of marrying in community of property is a joint estate, which also includes joint liabilities. So debt on both sides incurred before and during the marriage becomes debt of both spouses. One of the other disadvantages is also capacity to act, meaning that they would need each other's permission before entering into any binding contracts or any thing of money or anything like that. And also patrimonial damages. I've got as well committed against the other spouse. And the other one was in the event of insolvency, the joint estate is then dissolved and whatever is left will be split between the spouses. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. I would have answered it best, and I don't think there is anything to add. And on that regard, I would suppose that everyone is happy, and we can then move to question 7. Question 7 reads, just as children are protected by law, so are aged people. Explain when an aged person qualifies for need of care and protection. Who wants to take that one? You can put up your hand and then you can take that one. I would assume everyone has already done that. Should I repeat the question or you have it in front of you? Okay, I will repeat. It says, just as children are protected by law, so are aged persons. Explain when an aged person qualifies for need of care and protection. I have a hand again. It is Tanya. Yes, Tanya.
Sorry, T, I was waiting to see if somebody else wanted to answer. Okay, so an older person, 65 and older, which is male, and then females are 60 years of age and older. So just to cover the question, things like if, they need protection if their money is being stolen or being mismanaged, if they are being unlawfully removed from the property they currently live in, if they are in a neglective or abandoned situation without any support. It also goes on to say if they work on the streets or beg for a living, this is again in my own words, if he or she suffers from an addiction, for substance abuse or gambling, for instance, without any support or treatment, if they live in circumstances likely to cause or be conducive to seduction, abduction, or sexual exploitation, so like human trafficking and so on. And if they live in circumstances which they may be exposed to physical harm or mental harm, and if he or she is in a state of physical, mental, or social neglect. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Yes, you nailed it, and thank you very much for that. That was question 7. So now I'm left with less than 2 minutes before we go for a short break, which means we have been doing this for the past 30 something minutes. So I will take a short break and then we will be back. We can join back in using the same link in 2 minutes. I'll see you guys just now.